Abusiami Mahama Samo Kwaba Eroba Daily Update TV so. In case I wish you been and also swabbing or share now commenting so as a comment section. A badge brain a king can amati for any actual for United. A Bawa Muktali. Or a Bawa Muktali or a wine way. Mahama President Mahama the 8, the spokesperson the 8, one accepted the record street. What attack Bawumia Arabishino. Was a Bawumia like or a concert or a jokes. Bawumia came from nowhere into politics. Bawumia or a jokes. It didn't know because you know him so far. Bawumia kasa the speech, the demeanor and the action. It is a Bawumia and serious. I don't say Bawumia Akroma about politics mono. E ku faro ne pa MPP for a chow. I don't Bawumia too because one thing about Mutali, a year lawyer about Mutali Ekasazemze. A kufaro kofa Bawumia bayano. Was it Bawumia economic whiskey, the economic messiah when him economics. When him economics ye pa intino. Bawumia be complementino amaneti me buamamoni amamoni. So Bawumia by wa performing the West. Crack, performing the West. Now, so when was the last time about me ekasa about the economy? Or try to obey city stabilize it, or be revive the economy, no, or be make sure say there will be employment. That bang and artist said Dr. Bawumia or Kasasa. You know him say Bawumia ever kind of policies or UPS, you know, or Kasem so ma create job 2.1 million jobs. Nina ya outro. Or say they will still create more. And some about me can a outro say 2.1 million jobs, you know. But there is a situation unemployment rate, you know. I was so. I was a daily update TV so. Means I'm bread. A year Bawa Muktari Mahama spokesperson, a former Aide, was set in the record street. She's very brilliant and intelligent woman. A full interview Anna Omogrante into a fan and a pony at the amateur for say Muti, the essential part in some man worker about Mahama, the integrity, the credibility of Mahama Ewo. Now I bet you win some times it was set to the record straight and all attack about me on this government on Sembi or Kanye. A for a more zoom into the audio no means some American. You don't have a number to accommodate so second edition. That was
told us that the reason why he went out there against everybody in his party to bring Dr. Bawumia on board, a man who was not a member of the MPP, who didn't have a party card, that the reason was because he had a certain economic expertise that he hoped would help improve and build a better economy for the good people of Ghana. From that plagiarized inaugural speech, I knew we had gone out there and elected a duo that was going to take us for a ride. So I'm not surprised that Dr. Bawumia continues to spew all the garbage that he spews. It benefited him 10 years ago. He thinks that it just might benefit him again. What he forgets is that nobody takes him seriously anymore. He is the only comedian on the stage. And people just wait to hear him and hear what he's saying next. Even when he speaks and the sniffles are coming, and the applause is not as loud as it used to be, you can tell that he looks totally confused because he's missing it. He is not only out of sync with music or his dance steps, he is out of sync with the good people of Ghana.
Out of sync with music and dance steps?
Yes, it's not just that. You see, people who don't have a good rhythm, usually they don't have a good balance either. And so when you see even the things that he chants out, you can tell that he's very inconsistent, appears very indecisive, totally confused, doesn't even know what he's speaking about. Have you heard him on any day speak to building a better economy, speak to building a better, stable city, speak to improving the lot of the banking sector, speak to improving the lot of the unemployed, the many young people who follow these people through the length and breadth of this country? How have they benefited from this administration that has only come to benefit a few? And have you heard the list of the persons on the scholarship secretariat's list, for example?
But we're discussing it this morning.
Yes, think about it. My father will be telling me his grave because I remember when my younger brother even wanted to go and apply for a Government of Ghana scholarship. He said no, and he wouldn't even sign the document. So for all the education that we've gone through, we've had to work very hard. I had to secure a United Nations scholarship. So did my other sibling. The rest of them have gone for... Recently, my younger sister has gotten a scholarship. She went on her own. Even when we were in office, my brother, I couldn't secure a scholarship for her. She never even asked me because she knew that I'll tell her, with your name, I don't want you being on the list. Even when we lost elections in 2016, you remember in 2017, there was all this propaganda. Even my name was on the list. I've only driven past the scholarship secretariat. I've never entered that room before. I don't even know what they do there or how people get scholarships from there. You understand? I know there are many people who benefited from these scholarships and for good reasons. There are many people who genuinely needed the scholarships and got them. But when you look at this list today, it shows you the deeply partisan environment in which we live. I remember when we were in office, if you recall, the same scholarship secretariat, when they came under scrutiny, we found out that even people who had gone on the scholarships under us came back and they were campaigning for Nana Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, if you remember. And a lot of our people were very riled by that. You see, the only political party that cares for the future of this country is a National Democratic Congress. Make no mistake. It is only under the National Democratic Congress that anybody can walk into a scholarship secretariat, for example. Have you seen Mahama's kids on any of those lists? His children were growing up and going to uni just around the time when he was in office. How come they're not on the list? Have you heard of any of his extended family, and he comes from a very large family, who are on that list? No. Today, what is it you see? The president's family members and aficionados, the vice president's in-laws and all of that, people who have already received so many government appointments. And yet they still need a free scholarship. Even that one, after they took the scholarship, what happened? They didn't even use it. And I'm told in the corridors of rumors that even some of those monies were paid directly to people. I'm told that some of the students received them what? In their accounts. When I got a United Nations scholarship, the money was paid directly to the institution. The only thing that came into my account was a stipend that I got every month for accommodation and living expenses and for health. I never saw the check. I knew the quantum, but I knew that it was paid directly to the institution that I was going to. My second scholarship was the same. The American government paid directly to the institution. I never saw the tuition fees. Even the tickets were procured for us. And I remember they were always economy tickets. Of course, you don't expect the government to pay for you to go to school and then upgrade your ticket to business class or anything. If you wanted an upgrade, that was your responsibility. And they'll pay for you in, and then the next ticket you see is when you are leaving. So in between, if you want to return home, that is your palaver. I had left my young son here for my last educational study. So, of course, at Christmas, I wanted to come because his birthday was also in December. So think about it. There are so many unscrupulous persons walking in the corridors of power. People with no credibility, people who don't love Ghana, people who really don't care. It is almost as if I have won an election. I must benefit from the spoils of war. Take whatever is available. Look, 2 special prosecutors later, how have we fared on the annals or conversations about corruption? My brother, take Bas Brandon. That generated the most noise. How much was it? At the time, 1 million Ghana, so is it $1 million? It pales in comparison even to the lowest official corruption and the MPP. At the time, what did Mr. Mahama do? Our own Attorney General investigated that matter and came out with a report, and refunds were made. Remember the matter to do with the laptops and the company that supplied them? Same was done. A few weeks ago, I listened to Manasseh Azuri Awuni about how the JIDA report was made public even long before government reacted to it. It was already a public document. Those days, if you remember, they would go to Shiraj with all sorts of things. The Ford Navigator in particular was one of them. You know, people always go on about how Mr. Mahama said he has become a dead goat, and I hear our opponents still using this phrase even now to try and create a certain whatever. It was an idiomatic expression.
Okay.
The man had suffered 9 months of a very unfair election petition. He had gone through doom, so that was no fault of his. In any case, what has climate change got to do with an individual? And this was a country with no infrastructure for any independent power producers. Everything had to be found on virgin grounds. Even the level of the agreements we signed were the way they were because this was a huge risk. And today, if you look at it, some of the companies and what they were telling us at the time, they were telling the truth. People want to respect the sanctity of the agreements. People want to be sure that their bills will be paid. That energy sector levy, Mr. Mahama spoke to it yesterday, that it was the only advice he gave to Nana Akufo-Addo when they met, that be sure you don't touch the energy sector levy, because that fund was actually put up to pay for largely our energy sector bills.
Okay.
What did they do?
He told him
Specifically in a conversation they had. Not to touch it, because that one will come back and haunt them. He has been proven right and accurate.
So he is of the opinion that the current president having mortgaged it to take a loan.
In the end,
that was against the advice he gave him.
Absolutely. And the purpose for which that fund was set up, where is it today? The road fund is another one. Where is it today? The GET fund is another one. Where is it today? The heritage fund, the sinking fund. Why did we have that sinking fund? It was a revolving fund. And every time there was a proceeds from the Euro bond, it was put into it. It was supposed to be used to fund what? The homegrown solutions. Why did we have the heritage or fund, for example, the legacy fund? Oil proceeds, a certain percentage was being put into it. In fact, in the course of COVID, if you remember, government even borrowed money from there. The Ghana Infrastructure Fund, why was it set up? To accumulate money so that we could use that to develop what? Needed and critical infrastructure. Look, Senna, look at all the funds that were set up under Mr. Mahama, for example. They were all very purposeful. They had clear objectives. The minute Mr. Akufo-Addo came into office, what did they do? They brought in a finance minister who had no clue about anything except investment. You know, investment bankers are what we call people who like to gamble with other people's money. Sometimes they gamble and make huge profits, and they satisfy everybody. Client is happy, bank is happy, investment is happy. Other times they gamble. Remember the issue of Barron's Bank, for example. Took a huge gamble. It took America years after the stock exchange collapsed to fix traders like that who took unguarded risks. A lot of them went to prison. A lot of companies collapsed because of that.
Okay.
So when you have an investment banker in charge of your finances, know this, that his focus is on how to put in small money and make huge interests. But you have a budget also that has needs, huge requirements.
Are you suggesting our finance minister was gambling?
Oh, he's an investment banker. What was his business coming to manage our economy? In any case, how did he manage the economy? Where is the economy today? The economy he inherited, and you can check the World Bank report when we're leaving office, was positive to grow at 8% in 2017
and it did
by
grow.
the first quarter. And it did grow.
Yeah.
How did they use that growth? How did that growth feed into the lives of Ghanaians? How did all of us benefit from it? We ended up with what? The highest inflation in the history of this country. The increase on fuel yesterday is actually being recorded as the highest since independence, for example. How do you look at that in the ratio of people's incomes? Add transportation, add high rent. This is a government that told us they were going to be paying rent for what? First-time renters.
Yes.
First-time workers. Who has come here to testify to the fact that their rent has been paid? We were told that they were constructing affordable housing for people who needed it. Where are those houses? And yet they allow properties to rot and waste just because putting people into it will give credit to an administration that they try to demonize. But you see, God is not mocked. On every attempt they made to literally demonize the NDC has been vindicated. Where are we on the economy today? In fact, we have no economy even to talk about.
No economy.
The country is flat out broke. completely broke. And yet we are still doling out huge sums of monies to friends and cronies and passing on the debts to the good people, and in fact, to future administrations and even future generations that are not yet born. Have you noticed that a lot of the debts that Mr. Keneforiata left behind, he was actually promoting them to future payments? 2025.
They have all been pushed forward. In fact, they are currently paying no debts.
Yes. The question is why? Ask yourself why. What are the dividends that are owed the pension bondholders? Look, we must start to interrogate our leaders very carefully. When you consider the example of this administration led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, it tells you one thing. We never interrogated the things they were saying. We never asked them, okay, so these ones have poorly managed the economy. What are you going to do differently? Oh, so the dollar that was 6 cedis or 3 cedis, in fact, 4 cedis when we're leaving office. Today is 14 cedis. We didn't ask them how they were going to do it. When they told us they were going to make Ghana the cleanest city, and I'm happy Mr. Mahama has proposed that they would actually make the district assemblies responsible for sanitation. I think that is very important. I think one of the areas that we are suffering from is that so far you can't tell where we are on sanitation. Nana Akufo-Addo's promise to make Ghana the cleanest city has definitely failed. But the same way he promised to put his life on the line to fight Galamsey, then we found out that they themselves were a huge aficionados promoting Galamsey. Indeed, when I heard the vice president tell us that when he comes into office, what? They will no longer destroy excavators. Really? Was he sleeping when those excavators were being destroyed? Why? He had left, he wasn't paying attention. He wasn't part of the administration. He didn't hear the stories.
He said he was a mate.
Oh, when the vehicles break down in the course of the journey, who comes to open the engine? Is it not the mate? Is it not the mate? When the tires go flat and you're on the road, who comes to help you fix it? Is it not the mate? Look, if a driver is bad, the mate is even worse.
If a driver is bad,
the mate is worse.
But the mate has not. You've not seen the mate driving.
A good driver will always pick a mate who is very, very competent.
A good driver will pick a
competent mate. So when you see
you have a good driver and a terrible mate.
No. In fact, it's very rare because you see when the transport owner calls you and makes you his driver, he gives you the car and you are responsible. Don't forget that here we make sales. So if you come cry in the morning and tell him that the vehicle is spoiled, 3 days later he will sack you. Even for private people, if you're a driver who spoils his car all the time, you won't last. How much less the mate who is following you as his boss? So if the driver is driver Banza, how would I see the mate as better? Indeed, whenever a driver has sacked his main driver cry and gone to take the driver, what happens? The next day he goes and bumps it because most of the driver mates won't have licenses. So these ones are a clear example of a duo that has failed abysmally on all the things they promise the good people of God. Even food, basic food cry, we are starting.
Daily Update TV so. And then I'll show you my day now no subscribe and share. Shares all the commenting so a bedding, a bed show mommy. Now I like it Jumedino, now Union so any be Aide. Ashi. Na Bawa Mutari no Okasafa Bawumia. Na yenye name say Bawumia of late and near my baby na Bawumia and I say why a bet you win some or fleeting on Bawumia. A war opposition and MPP were oppositional and same baby na Bawumia Ekaye. Emma Samira Krenyano eka say Mahama is Krenyano ka say Mahama is incompetent. Samira Bawumia yes on a kasasem. I say Mahama is what? Incompetent. On a kasasem. Ena on ka say oh Mahama wa bamu na owa bamu na dollar electricity Bawumia ka say ono onim economics. Sending sikasemu yi pint no ba obetutu sikasem no ama dollar no abe 1 cedi ama onu kra so obeche dollar no no de safo na ma IGP and so Bawumia ba a ben bisa said dollar and I'm saying Busuya. They say dollar and a 13 cedis. Dollar na Mahama and what 3 cedis. And no grand chain. Bawumia ya saka say teacher trainees are what suffering, nurses trainees are what suffering. Na make I say or Mahama then time say Mahama buama money teacher for bread, nurses for bread. Ebusuya busa Bawumia say abra waba akunyam nurses for how did they feel? Omo atom teacher for ho atom. Not too long and omo teacher for sika say omo bebre omo laptop. Busa say Bawumia say any Akufo say laptop na nene beba yenim. There were and amoka say mobile restore nurses training allowance, teacher training allowances. Emma nurses for ebe who say Mahama de onyini papa emma omututia ni buburu. Busa say ne Mahama tamoka say nurses training asafre and nurses for omho to mana. Nurses are not receiving allowances, and after so maybe no my service no na akajuma so we don't post them. It's no Yemusa Bawumia. Nurses training are suffering on Mahama regime now kind. In this under your regime or government, nurses for who at home man. Ebusuya. Politics, politics. But sometimes be honest to the people. Be sincere. I daily update you. So means for comment section. God bless you.